Section 6.2, writing a simple class step by step. This section is going to be divided into two parts. The first part is going to be on the design, and second part will be the step by step. And there is a small section at the end, so we have A, B, C, the same as the previous one. And so here we go, the first part, the design, and design is based on the principle. We aggregate different types of elements, and there are two main types in a class. And the first one, it's the data member, and so we usually call it fields because data are represented in a table, and each table has different fields. And the example class that we are going to be using is a simple rectangle. And so there are verbs or methods associated with those attributes or fields that the basic ones are three. One is constructor, and the second one is the setting the attributes, and the third one is to get the attributes. So we call it setters, getters, and constructors. All right, so we are going to go through the whole thing here in theory. So these are the members that we have it on the textbook. And so we have the first part, that is the right here, this portion. And this is the data member. And typically, because of we are sort of in a we are not communist, so we have privacies. So all the personal data are private. However, there are access to those, and we have different privilege. There are public privilege, protected, and restricted, and private, and so different type of method privilege. But that's down the road. Basically, there will be public method that is really visible in the simple class. Typically, all have public method and private data. And so the next portion that we are going to be doing is the getters and setters. And in the end, we will talk about the constructors. So this is the sections for the method. These are currently all designated to be public methods. And continue going on, and this is the famous, UML. And what we have is a diagram. And these are just the members of, and the difference between the data member or the fields versus the method is fields are like this, right here. There's nothing, and the methods, they are using the function denotation, that using a parenthesis, a pair of parentheses in there. So you can have arguments, or you can have no argument methods. And then that we have the name right here. So this is the title. Title of this particular table is this, which is the name of the class. All right, so continue on. And there are a lot of details, but this one is a starter, so it doesn't have that many details. So I was talking about the access privilege, and for data, they typically are all data unless they are using it for outside facing. So those are the data, and continue on. This is the first setup, and then we are going to be talking about the how to declare a method. So there are four parts. The access specifier, right? Access specifier, it can be just public, or public statistic. I mean, public static, not statistic, public static. Too much statistics. Yeah, and so that's the specifier, and then the next piece is the return type, and all method has return type. So if you don't have any return value or reference, that's going to be void type. And then the name itself, okay, the name itself, and let me just do this also, okay, and then the last one, this is the for the parameters or arguments, right? And so that's one piece. So this is first, second, third, and fourth. So always remember that. And the fourth one comes with a pair, all right, of parentheses. And so this is another step forward. This is giving the demonstration of what you created in 6.3. And so we grow it step by step. And my demonstration is I'm going to write the whole thing out from the first line to the last one and compile that and test it and show it. And so it has a contiguous connectivity. And so this is just talking about the constructor right here. So this is that we will have to create a constructor to fulfill this. So the user can do this and create a rectangle in such a way. All right, and so these are the detailed descriptions, and you still need to read through this to get all the details. I'm giving you the top level overview. Writing the set with method, and so this is another step, how we write the setters and the getters. And continue on. This is my fourth step, that you have the code as much as this. And then we get into actually passing arguments to setters, and the last one is a method called getArea. And getArea is funny, that the initial designer would think area is a noun, so it should be an attribute of fields. It should be a field as opposed to a method. But the problem is, we will run into the problem called what's the name of the problem? That it's going to be having obsolete data as soon as you write it. And the reason is, anytime you have an update of width or length, your area is inconsistent with the other data. And to prevent this problem is to make it, the best way is to make it as a retrieval function, not retrieving the internal data called area, but retrieving internal data, which is primary data, not the secondary data, and then make the calculation on the spot. So it's always up to date, to the point that the most updated primary attributes or fields are going to be used, as opposed to 3 minutes ago. All right, so so this will not be obsolete or obsolescence problem. All right, so that's the last one. And in here we have I call it getters and setters. A setter, formal name, is called mutator, meaning changing the data. Assessor is a getter, meaning go in and get the fields out. And importance of data hiding. So this is what I'm talking about, that we are We are not communist. We are capitalist. So all the properties are private. I click something, this window is not moving, and so I have no idea. But anyway, so the problem I was talking about is obsolescence. The formal name is called stale data. And once we fix that issue, wow, wonderful. It takes like 15 seconds to come back. I know my memory is running now. I need to do something really quick. All right, so the last part that we need to talk about is the Unified Modeling Language, or we call it UML diagramming, is representing another piece of information, as we were talking about private and public. So the private symbol is minus, and public accessible is plus. And that's just the general notation. So you can tell that we also add another notation here. And this is its attribute. So the length is a field, and its attribute is double. That means this particular data is in double size. It's a double floating point. And any other notations? Oh, okay, I noticed that now this is getting more, and this is using a pair of parentheses to represent it's a method. And even further, that down the road you are going to see, we're almost at the end, that you can see that there are arguments. There are arguments right here, and argument has type too. And this last one, this type is the methods type. So this is how it's connected, and this is these two. All right. So now we have the full-blown UML, not full-blown, but just the name, the naming part of it. Okay. It doesn't have any description. It only has the decoration. So, so that's it. And the next step, we are going to go into the implementation. It's step by step, but it's just contiguous from the beginning to the end. All right, I'll see you in the implementation section B. 6.1, section B.